Hello and welcome to A New Day with Susan. I'm your host, Susan Yockey. At age 51, she has been a teacher, a communicator, a Fortune 500 regional manager, a top executive, consultant, and life coach of C-suite clients. A Fulbright Scholarship Alumna with top academic credits and certifications, and the experience to prove it all. She describes herself as a life learner and culture disruptor. I love that. Born in Guatemala, citizen of the world by trade, calls today Buenos Aires her home. She was diagnosed in 2015 with endometrial cancer and then diagnosed in June of 2016 with thyroid cancer. She is soon approaching her first year with no evidence of disease. A woman of faith tells us her journey from being merely alive to finding absolute living. I'd like to welcome Amanda Michelle to my show. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Susan. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Yes. So I always talk a little bit about the weather over here. I don't know what the weather's like for you. However, in Montana, well, in Helena, Montana, it's dropping some snow on us. So I'm calling it sprinter. I was excited about spring, and then bam, there's that snow again. How about you?
We're just beginning autumn here, and it's raining cats and dogs, as it should be in autumn. It's starting to get cold a little bit.
Oh.
So we're switching weather here. We're getting into the cold season, but it's not as cold as Montana.
Wow.
So Buenos Aires has the 4 seasons, but there's no snow around here. That happens way down south.
Wow. So exactly where are you on the map?
I'm in, South America. If you look at the map of the Americas, come down to South America, it has like a round bottom. I'm exactly at that point where Uruguay and Argentina meet. That's where the capital of Argentina is. That's Buenos Aires. They call it the bottom of the world, but it's a beautiful country, and it has been home for the past 16 years now.
Awesome. That is so awesome that I get to speak with people from around the world. It's just really exciting and an amazing opportunity, I believe, that we get to bring the world to Montana. So, born in Guatemala, how long have you been away from home?
I have lived abroad more. I'm 51 now, and I left home when I was 18. So I've lived abroad more than I have lived in Guatemala. I lived in the States, in Mexico. Then I moved around Latin America for work, and finally, but I was chose to be based in Buenos Aires by marriage. Love brought me here, and yeah, I have a wonderful husband who has 2 wonderful kids of my heart, my babies, and I'm a grandmother since last year. The first day I started chemo, she was born. So it was a wonderful cycle. And so now I'm a grandma. And that's how I have been traveling and living everywhere, working everywhere, which has given me a wonderful view of the world and people and cultures and their customs and their hearts and what it's important to them. So it's been a good run.
Oh, that would be so fun, I think, to be able to travel around the world like that. Is that why you say citizen of the world by trade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, because my trade has gotten me, to places I never thought I would be. But more than the traveling and the places, it's the people that I have met, the friends I have scattered all over the world, really. I mean, if I had to have a birthday party, I don't know, I had to do it in the North Pole so that everybody could meet, it would be a great meeting point.
Yeah.
Because I have friends, true friends all over the world, and I'm very rich about that, very rich because of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I call myself a citizen of the world, because I have brothers and sisters all over.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. And congratulations on being a grandma.
Okay.
You do not look 51 or like someone who's had cancer. So you look great.
Thank you. You know, it's amazing when people say things like that to me. Sometimes it's hard for me to believe that I don't know how I'm supposed to look right now. I'm looking for my identity, looking for myself again, searching inside. Because like you look great, and it's great to see that people don't notice. But I don't know what one would be expecting for somebody who has been, um, 8 surgeries, um, later uh, some uh, 6 rounds of chemo, radiation, and I don't know how I'm supposed to look, but I know how I feel. I feel very confident, and as a matter of fact, there's something called scan anxiety, which is the anxiety before scans. I had my scan yesterday, and I had to wait for a week for the result. Um, and this will mark my 1 year with no evidence of disease when everything comes clear. I'm not sick, I'm healing from cancer. I say that to myself. I'm healing from cancer, and I will be healing from cancer for the rest of my life.
Yeah. That's amazing. So, well, that, I was just going to lead this conversation into you sharing about your journey. And when did you discover, looks like it was not long ago that you discovered something was going on. What was happening in your life at that time?
Well, I was, looking for the next big thing. And my husband and I were going to move to New Zealand to work and travel and get based in New Zealand. So before we left, we started doing medical checkups. I was getting ready. For you to have an idea, I gave all my Christmas tree and historical ornaments and things that my mother had to my daughter, Mother of the Heart. Her name is Clarissa, and I have given her the inheritance that belonged to her. I was getting rid of things that have been traveling with me everywhere I went because I was moving to a new country. So the health issues started happening. The checkups. I went to the dentist. I went to have all my annual exams. I went, even to have my nails done before traveling and applying for the visa to travel to New Zealand. And on a regular Thursday afternoon, I had things in my agenda, and it was to do 3 things. One, to go get my results with the gynecologist, and then to go to get to a computer and enroll in a course I wanted to take, and then to finish drawing up the visa requirements and on the web page to finish applying for the going away visa.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the doctor. The doctor gave me my results, but it was just a paper. I just got the paper. And Argentina, Buenos Aires has the widest avenue in the world. It has 9 lanes across. It's not the longest, it's the widest. You cannot cross it once at a time. Maybe a runner can do it. I cannot cross it because there's stoplights and things. But I went to the doctor and I opened the paper right in the middle of the avenue because, I was not expecting anything wrong.
Yeah.
I was looking through the results and it said something carcinoma. I just stopped dead in the middle of the street. And then a car brought me back to reality and honked because I was in the middle of the green light. And I went back and I just stood there and was like, God, what did I do now? I felt so lost. In a second, my life just turned around because I didn't know what was coming on. I didn't know if I understood right. Mm-hmm. So I went back to the doctor's office the next day, and he explained, there's a very small portion of cancer in one of the tissue that we took out as a routine exam, but you shouldn't worry. That's don't worry about it. We got this. It's a very small microscopic portion, but we're going to have to take out your uterus just to be safe. So they did, and they left the ovaries. Month later, biopsy comes back, and there was a bigger cancer lineup between the endometrial and the uterus. So just to be safe, the ovaries had to come out. Biopsy comes back, just to be safe. So don't worry about it. Just to be safe, we're going to take your ovaries. Both ovaries and the fallopian tubes came with cancer also, with some spots of cancer. So that's surgery number 4.
Wow.
Then I was recuperating from that, and they said, you know, we'll have to do a bigger operation. So I had the biggest operation where they had to take out the lining of the organs, just to be safe, because it can spread through belly fat. And the technical and medical things are, you know, the least important. The thing is that I have had another operation. Then after that operation, I had another tumor growing where the first tumor grew. So they had to operate on again. And then I started chemo.
Wow.
After finishing chemo, about 6 months into that, my thyroid just blew up. It has nothing to do with the endometrial and ovarian cancer that they found. I knew I had a node in my thyroid, and it just came out negative as a malignant tumor, so it had to go. 20 days after my last operation, when they found another metastasized near my belly button. So it's been a roller coaster of bad news, because just to be safe, just in case. So guess what? Doctors were wonderful, but you know, they tell you the news like, hey dear, your tonsils have to come out. For them, it's a little bit easier. But for me to take that in, I thought I wouldn't have the strength to go through it. So the whole going up and down, I mean, for each is different for every person.
Yeah.
Also, as I was telling you, there were 3 things on my agenda that afternoon in September 2015. Go get my results, to finish the visa, which I never did because I couldn't move, because the last question on the visa is, have you had cancer in the past 5 years?
Oh.
So I had all the requirements, everything that I could have to be able to be welcome into the country. My husband did too. But the last question, I never read it because I was worried about the qualifications and all of that. But when I finished that, even knowing that I had cancer, we said, well, you know, maybe we can get treatment here and then move and all of that. But the last question was, have you had cancer in the past 5 years? If that question was a yes, you couldn't get in. And the last age where you can move to New Zealand is 55. So it's right, I'm 50. 49 actually, and I knew it was a deadline that I probably could not meet. So everything started crumbling. So from moving to being, you know, an executive coach, working with all kinds of people, going and having plans for the future, and moving to a new country to start continue my practice in a different country, in a different setup, in a different culture. It just, you know, it wasn't supposed to happen. At the point, I thought, like, you know, it's hard to understand how to behave. But the healing process didn't really start until I realized that I had some choices to do. When you're so close into, I mean, a lot of people get terrible diagnoses. I was stage 2. Some people are stage 4 in other organs that are more vital. They told me I was lucky because ovarian cancer is found very later. I had to thank the traveling to New Zealand and all those plans, because otherwise I wouldn't have had such thorough examinations, because I didn't take care of my body that much. I went to the normal exams and all of that, but I was not, you know, into having all those tests done, just because I wanted to make sure everything was okay before I left. I had neglected my body for a long time. That's one of the first lessons that I learned from having cancer. But it's not just the body. Through my journey and the the third thing that I wanted to do that I couldn't do in 2016, because 2016 is sort of a blur, coming in and out of anesthesia and in and out of operations and barely looking at the ceiling and the lights in the hospital, was to enroll in the Conversational Intelligence course. So the journey was not only the medical things that were happening to me, we were scary enough. I mean, I'm a researcher. I was born, I really love studying, and I was a library worm when I was little. Now I'm a Google worm, if there's something like that. I love to research, and I started not doing everything that people tell you not to do and Googling things, but it was out of necessity, because doctors heal you and tell you things and give you the basic information, but there's something more beyond that about healing. Healing for me as a coach, and as I was telling you, enrolling in the Conversational Intelligence course was something that I had in my agenda, and it was somewhat of a thing that was left to do that I wanted to do, that sort of gave me continuity from that kind before I was diagnosed to when I was diagnosed and going through cancer. So it felt like something I had to do. It was something in the inside of me that said, you need to finish this. The kind of sort of this needs to be done. You'll feel better. That was the message I was getting from myself. So I enrolled in the course, and I got busy. In the middle of the course, they found another tumor, and they had to operate in the middle of the training. But since it was online and it's a great training, I was able not to lose any classes. But amidst of all of this, I was starting to understand that the healing had to happen from within me. As a coach, I chose to become a coach after the corporate world and everything, because I thought and I knew that there's some things that you can do from within a company, inside the company. As a corporate, as a manager, as a leader, you can do a lot of things. There's a very different view and a different situation when you're on the other side of the door, when you're coming as a consultant, as an objective person, to see how you can open spaces from them for them to become better persons, to achieve their goals, and everything that we know about coaching. Now, that applied to me as a person was a whole learning journey.
Yeah.
That's my healing journey. When I started not really coaching myself, because I wouldn't call it that, but going through the contents of conversational intelligence, which is the neurochemistry of conversations, I started talking differently to myself. I started learning that I was raising my own cortisol, which is getting angry at myself for being sick. Getting angry because I didn't get to move to New Zealand, getting angry at life, at the world, and whomever was in front of me, because I was ill and I was not able to live a normal life. I couldn't keep climbing up. But the race, I don't call cancer a fight. I stopped fighting. I'm not a warrior.
Yay!
I cannot call myself that, because warriors are brave. I'm not brave. I don't see myself as brave. I see myself as a woman of faith. If it wasn't for faith and the prayer and the belief that there's something greater than me, I don't think that this was given to me as punishment. I don't think that it just happened. I mean, like, some people get arthritis, some people get older, and there's, a lot of people. I had a sister who died of cancer at 30, and I never thought it would happen to me.
Yeah.
And it was not in my radar, because I thought I was immortal. But the healing really happens when you start having different conversations with yourself. It sounds like, I have 10 different people living here. I don't know, but that's something for a therapist to fix. But the kind of conversations and the way that we talk to each other, to ourselves, and the words that we use to define our situations can be either healers or can be detrimental to your health.
Yep.
When you're a perfectionist, you say good things to yourself, but you're going after the next best thing. I was addicted to being right. I learned that in conversational intelligence. But the conversations I had in my mind was about, okay, I need to do this, and I want to keep going because I want to help people. But it was not the helping people that was moving me.
Oh.
That was my merely, that's why I call it merely living. Because I was living for the mandates. I was living for the you should be doing this and that. You're in your 50, you were not able to have your kids, but God was good enough to give me a great husband who already had potty trained kids when we got married. I mean, he's miraculous and he's great. He has given me every desire of my heart. But I still had to learn that healing and that love for life is more important than any diploma, any certification, any achievement. The achievement that I'm looking for now is to make an impact on my immediate family. If I can help others by doing something like this, then that's what I want. I'm done with climbing a ladder. That stopped the moment I crossed the avenue and read, that my body was telling me, stop, Mish. This is what my friends call me. Um, Stop it, Mish. This is not the way. We need to listen to our bodies. And I see so many people that I have worked with in consulting and coaching that, we all live busy lives. We take lunch later on, or we don't take lunch because we're busy, and then at dinner we eat everything, or we go out of the house without breakfast, and we don't exercise. I wish I could write a letter to myself when I was 20 and gone to the gym. Now I would have needed those abs really when I was operated on, because I had no muscles in my belly, and they operated, and it was very hard for me to get up. It was very hard for me to get up emotionally also.
Yeah.
So there's three sides to a person to be whole. I was paying a lot of attention to my brain because I'm very cerebral. I love to learn. I love to research. I have to understand everything that's going on in order to process it to my heart. And that circle had to change. And that I did because of conversational intelligence and understanding how my brain works. But my soul was telling me something else that didn't come from the training, didn't come from what I knew, didn't come from outside and the doctors. It came from within me.
Yeah.
The heat came when the Lord started talking to me. This is a very cliche phrase, but I started hearing other words and talking to myself and say, hey, Michelle, you've had a lot of losses in your life. You've had a lot of great things happening in your life, but you're not taking care of yourself as a whole. If you want to help others, you need to go through this with a different perspective. So I started praying and learning how things that are in the sacred book that I read, everything that I read, because I kept going through the brain to try to understand, even in the spiritual realm, what was happening to me. But I can't understand and interpret every spiritual book that there is. There's something when light starts shining through you, and that's probably why you say you don't look sick. It's because I don't feel sick. I don't know what's in store for me in the future. There's a lot of people who are denied a future a lot younger than I am. If I do the balance today, I had a great life. If I have to turn in, my papers today and say, hey, this is your last day, I've had a good run. I've had a great run. But I don't want it to be over, so I'm doing everything that I can, physically, mentally, and spiritually, to stay healthy. And that includes a routine of praying, for some people, that can be hugging a tree, that can be awing at nature, that can be just reading something or being with yourself, meditating, doing yoga, whatever puts you in touch with yourself.
Yeah.
The healing starts the moment you realize something is missing from your life. Not what you're lacking, not things.
Right.
Not the house, not the boyfriend, not the kids, not the cat. When something is missing inside you, when you're missing light, when you're lacking light, when you're not giving light outside.
Yeah. And that starts to show up when you get stuck in the constant doing or addiction, or you have turmoil going on in your relationships, and for many of people it's through their body.
Yeah, and actually, you know, I didn't know. I don't know everything. I don't have the answers. This is just my journey. This is what happened to me. How I feel. I'm still a little afraid of results. I'm human. You know, I know that there can be, but that's my brain talking. You know, I know there can be two answers, whether it's okay or it's not. And it takes me different ways. Knowing that, I have faith that it will come all right. And if it doesn't, because I have to think about it, because that's the way I am, I know God is going to be holding my hand like he has done for the past 18 plus months ago. He's been holding me going through this.
Yeah.
And I don't recommend this to anybody. Of course, I wouldn't have anybody having to go through cancer to learn this. That's why I'm hoping that this helps, you know, help somebody change their lifestyle and at least stay 1 hour less at the job, eat better, have time for themselves.
Yeah.
Help the people that you love. The healing really starts when you understand that you are not just that one part, that you're all three of them, that you're a holistic person. Yeah. Even though it sounds very woo-woo for some people. I mean, the CEOs, when I coach them, they tell me something's missing in my life. I regret not having seen my kids grow up, and now they don't talk to me that much. Yeah. Then they have to go and revisit those relationships. So success for them it had gone okay in one situation, but then the family the relationships and the personal relationship that we have with ourselves is not good. We need to forgive ourselves for wanting. And I mean, we took the best decisions we had with what we had at that moment. Yeah. So we don't need to regret what has happened. Going to the past doesn't help.
Nope.
The only thing that helps by going to the past for is to forgive.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I personally feel that we need to look back is to forgive whomever for whatever. Your friend, your father, your mother. I mean, you're not culpable of what happened to you as a child, but it is your responsibility to move beyond that, whether you're or not. Because if you don't have anything in your body that's telling you that, that's still healing. And you can heal while being healthy. That's the most important message that I want to give you, Susan, and your listeners, and whomever is out there who has a family relationship or are going through chronic illnesses with their family, their friends, or just feel desperate and depressed. The healing begins when you understand that you can heal while not being sick. Not being loved is not being ill. Not being loved is not being alone. Not being loved is not understanding how to love yourself. That's probably why you think, and nobody loves me. I have had 3 husbands, 40 boyfriends, and nobody stays. And maybe the reason is because you don't like to be with yourself. So I invite everybody who's watching and listening to look at those areas a little deeper. What is it that you're doing that it's not making you happy? When was the last time that you did something that made you happy? And some people tell me, it's like, but there's nothing that really makes me happy. I mean, there is that one moment that we need to think about what we wanted to do when we grew up. I want to be a fireman. I want to be, Wonder Woman. Be Wonder Woman. Be the fireman and help, I mean, maybe you don't have the body anymore to go into the Corps, but maybe you can donate and hang out with the firemen. I don't know, something that makes you happy. Dancing.
Yeah.
Playing with your kids, going and just making, and it sounds very cliche, and you see it in all of these memes that are going in internet, but there's a reason for that.
Yep.
The whole universe is telling you, take care of yourself, take care of your heart, take care of your dear ones. I
Yeah.
mean, if I have to tell you, you know, what I wanted the most in my life is wanted to be a mother. I wanted to be a mother so bad. And I did say, you know, if when I'm 30, I don't have kids, I'm going to adopt. At that point, I was getting a divorce. My husband came when I was 34, and the kids were 9 and 11, and they are my kids because I adopted them in my heart.
Oh.
I lost a baby when I was almost 36. So it was a way of the Lord telling me, you know, you already have two beautiful kids who love you, and you adopted them, and we have a great relationship, and I cannot ask for anything else. I mean, a lot of young women who have ovarian cancer are deprived of the chance of having their own children. That choice is taken away from them because they're ill. But there are so many other ways where you can have that motherly love come out. And I mean, nobody can tell me that I'm not a mom, a mother. So
Yeah.
I became, but that I learned with time. Before I got sick, that was one part that was already healed.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you is that you can heal. You don't have to wait to hear terrible news.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait to get older. Time is something that doesn't need to be wasted. I'm so adamant about that. Time is really a gift. I mean, every day that you're out there is a gift. And while you're zapping through TV, there are some other things that your body and your mind and your soul needs.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's nothing wrong with doing that, but not all the time. The
Yeah.
ex, the excesses, I mean, just the excess of doing things, too much adrenaline, too little adrenaline, too
Mm.
much love, too little love, too much health, too
Mm-hmm.
little health. I mean, the opposites are not good. It's the combination of your faith, whatever that is for anybody out there. And if you're not a believer, just look out at the sky and see how many stars there are, and you'll know that you're part of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just something bigger than anything else, and bigger than you, and that might help you understand how your spirit works, or the faith, the love that you have for yourself, what you learn, and how you use it, how you use those gifts to give
Yeah.
something back to the world.
Yeah.
That is what is healing me. That has been my journey. It's not over. I don't know when it's gonna be over. I just
Right.
know, like one of the doctors I had, he was very. I thank him for that. He said, you know, you might not die from this. We don't know. You might die from something else. I mean, an accident or whatever. You just have a different perspective on how your life looks like, and that was very smart of him because it just really made me stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
The
I
roses
was
are really
gonna
too small.
I was gonna ask you, when was like a shifting point for you when you realized you're in your ego mind, and then shifted over to like this journey of there's something here that I need to learn, and it's about faith and healing. When did
Well,
that start happening?
that is a great question because there's there's someone that I call the fireman God. You know, when you call the fireman, it's like something's happening. I say, oh God, please don't let this happen. I mean, even you're late for an appointment and you call the fireman God that fixes, where are my car keys? That moment just started. I have always been a believer. I've always prayed. I thought I had faith. But the moment that you have something like that, that's the first moment when I turned to God, when I saw the diagnosis. But
Yeah.
then, but then I knew I had to go deeper into that because bad news kept coming back to me. It was not just a
Yeah.
one thing. It was not just like an accident and then you get
Right.
fixed, whatever. The journey really, really began when I understood that I might die.
Mm.
Actually, when I realized that what I had kept going.
Yeah.
But it was very optimistic, and that sometimes they tell you things and all of that. But just becoming aware of my own mortality
Yeah.
made me ask the question, was this enough? Was what
Mm.
you did enough? Are you ready? And of course, the answer to that is no, I want to hang up to life, and
Yeah.
no, I'm not ready. I want to see my baby granddaughter grow up and have her sweet 15 that's what we celebrate in Latin America, like the sweet 16. I want her to go, to see graduate from high school at least. God, give me that chance to see her graduate from high school. But when you realize that you have no control over that, you need to start letting go. And the moment that you realize that you have to let go of your own life, the answer to was it enough starts becoming what is it that you need to do in order to answer at this point in your life, whether you're sick or not out there. Have I done enough? Enough for whom? The first person would be you.
Yeah.
And that's not selfish.
No.
Have you done enough for yourself already? Are you happy with who you are, not what you have? Are you happy with who you are? Are you happy with the kind of person that you become at your age? You can be 15, you can be 70, you can be sitting in your kitchen listening to this woman with an accent telling you what have you done for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's never too late. It's never too late to switch and to turn and say, hey, I need to take better care of my teeth, better care of my soul, better care of my mind. It's never too late to learn. I mean, you see those old persons, with advanced age that go to and finish high school. That's because, and it's not a matter of making a bucket list, because that's the present.
Yeah.
There's no bucket list for me. There is just some things that I still need time to do. But if my time is up soon, I I need to do them faster. So that you have to make every day count.
Yeah.
The healing keeps going for me because I'm never going to be. I mean, I couldn't be so proud of saying, I'm done. I've learned everything. I'm healed. I know everything that there is. I'm a work in progress. My healing journey doesn't end with remission, which is going to happen in 4 years from now. Real
Yeah.
remission has to be 5 years with no evidence of disease. Of course, I don't want the cancer to come back. So I'm going to do everything that I possibly can within my control, which is taking care of my soul, of my heart, of my brain, and my body the best way I can.
Yeah.
And making sure that I'm strong enough to have the faith to accept whatever life gives me. Life so far has been wonderful, even with the disease. I
Yeah.
want to go out there and continue my work and share conversational intelligence with other people, sharing my journey with other people, sharing how healing is not just about the doctors telling you you're okay. It's when you know you are okay. Today, I can tell you I'm healed. The doctor might say something else in a week.
Yeah.
I don't know. But today, I am healed. Thank and praise the Lord. And thanks to the universe or the whomever is out there listening and watching. Because
Amen to that.
yes, I
That's
respect
great.
everybody, even the agnostics and the non-believers. Is like, nah, there's no way God is gonna heal me from this. Just think
Yeah.
about it. I just invite them to think about and look at a starry night, or a sunset or a
Yeah.
sunrise, and see what it makes you feel. When you feel good about a bird chirping, then there's
Yeah.
something bigger.
Yeah. Even the small things. Yeah.
Yes,
Anything that brings you into that moment of peace and calm and just being present to yourself and your love. And yeah, that's
and
such a beautiful message.
And I wish that it could be like that all the time, but mostly, out there when I leave my house and I open the door, I live in the third biggest city in Latin America, so there's lots of noise and all that. The turmoil that it's out there for everybody, because we don't have to
Yeah.
live in the third biggest city to have a turmoil of noise and a tsunami of troubles, but just
Yeah.
put this in perspective. Okay,
Yes.
having trouble with your with your pipes at home. It's a mess, but it's not a trouble. It has a solution. It's not the end of the world.
Yes.
Financial problems are terrible, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
You'll get through this. It might not be easy. It might not be happy, but if you have faith in yourself, in something bigger than yourself, and you take care of your body the best way you can with what you have, you'll get through anything. If you have love and you have people who love you around, the better.
Yeah.
But you don't. I mean, I hear some ladies that I have met through this journey, whose children live abroad or far away, or they have no children, they have no support system. The best support system is your prayer, to believe in something better. If you have friends who are behind you and supporting you, the better that you're going to feel. But because that love really heals. If you don't have them, I encourage you to go out there and look for more. To look for support groups, people who are as lonely as you are, but don't stay at home having a pity party. That is the worst remedy for anything that's happened to you. Yeah. Whether it's medical, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, because that can be real too. The healing comes from understanding that you're worth it, that you're loved, and the first person who loves you is yourself.
Yeah.
And take care of that. When you nurture yourself with food, with good food, when you stop feeding yourself crap, when you understand that you're more than the sum of your parts. Mm-hmm. It's not about you only. It's what your environment, the environment that you create by being who you are. So is it enough? Have you done enough for you? And the answer should be no, because there's always improvement. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for learning something else, to treating yourself better, to have better conversations with yourself and say, honey, you're going to be okay, and do this, hug yourself if you have nobody to hug you.
Yeah.
That was my healing process. And the pivotal step that I took was to start to really let go and forgive, and leaving my luggage where it needed to be, and not carrying all the baggage that I was carrying. I had to forgive a lot of people that I didn't know, but all of that came in a hospital bed, in a moment of silence. And I hope you're not in a hospital bed listening to this. Yeah. Just sit out there and make a list of the people you have to forgive, or you might want to forgive. And even if you don't want to have that conversation, or the person is no longer with us, just let go, like a balloon, But an honest exercise of letting go of whomever hurt you, whomever made you cry, whomever did something that you did not like. And then you're going to love that. That doesn't mean that you have to forget. I mean, because there's this I forgive, but I'll never forget. That's not the attitude. The attitude that could help is, I did forgive. There's some scars in my soul, in my body that show for it, but it's not going to hurt me anymore. I don't give you permission to keep you hurting me anymore. That memory, that person, that situation, and that's going to help you heal a lot better. It's going to help your body chemistry heal itself, and it's going to help your spirit feel more at ease. And that's what I have to say about healing. I just sounded like Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that. But I think as it is, laughter is also a great remedy.
That's right. Yeah,
and getting into deep conversations like this is very healing. But there also always you have to find a little bit of humor in everything that's happening. But when you're having an IV hooked into your thing, I used to have banners hang from the thing. It's like I had a clown's nose through chemo. I did everything I could to stay up, and stay brave. But the healing is never done. But it has to begin at some point, and it begins with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is such a beautiful message, and that's why I invited you on this show, is because you have a great message to share with people. And because you're right, it is beyond just our mind, there's an embodiment of the different aspects of our lives. And that is one thing that women for many years, many years have been programmed to believe, is that it's selfish to love yourself. And that's a lie. And it's not selfish to love yourself, because, I mean, they even teach you on, and I'm sure people have heard this, when you're on the airplane, if there's something happening, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, then your child, because how can you put that on them if you're going down in the moment and you lose air, and how you end up killing you both?
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate what you share, because it's important that people really get. It's not an easy process. First off, I really want people to get that. It's not easy, because we do deal with the brain, which is just a part of our body. It's keeps our body functions going. We have that mind chatter, and it takes practice to shift in the moment by just making a simple choice. I'm not going to eat that piece of candy today, or thank you for that piece of candy. It's your choice in the moment. And and there's many ways that people, like you said, can access just that spiritual aspect, the emotional aspect. I believe that our emotions are an indicator to what we're avoiding up here in the mind. And it's an opportunity to really just look at it and say, oh my gosh, okay, something's going on here. Because you're right, it shows up into our physical world. So, yeah, thank you so much for your message and sharing your journey. I acknowledge your being courageous, being vulnerable, and your love, being love for yourself and for women in the world and all of just humanity. So thank you for being on the show with me today.
Thank you for having me, Susan. It was a pleasure, and it was very comfortable, and the way how you lovingly heard me, and I hope that everybody who's out there really has a moment to think about how important you are, because you are in this earth for a reason. I'm still looking for what I want to do when I grow up, but I'm still growing up.
Well, like you said, it's one moment at a time. And I believe wholeheartedly in divine messages. I've had them many times in my life, but I just didn't start paying attention to them until 8 years ago. So, and I'm telling you guys, if you could see, you'll get to see Amanda Michelle on YouTube, because I'll also post this on YouTube. She does not look 51. So when you figure it out and grow up, I imagine that part of, for me, what I'm picking up from you is that you have a message to share, and just go with that and continue listening to your divine self, because you're a beautiful woman.
Thank you, Susan. So are you. Thank you for having me. Really,
you're welcome.
It's an honor. It's a pleasure, and I wish everybody out there a great day. And may this be the day that you take care of yourself in all three ways.
That's right. All right. Thank you.